Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about Uranus retrograde in a natal horoscope. When Uranus is retrograde, the person that has this placement may have difficulties, maybe in association with freedom, independence, and self-reliance. They may be very maybe somewhat reluctant and very prudent and careful regarding showing any idiosyncrasies, or they have any odd habits. Perhaps the innovative side may be suppressed to some degree. I think many people with retrograde Uranus can have an ingenious and innovative side to them, but there may be reluctance in showing this to others. Now, this person may emphasize conservatism, and may be skeptical about new ideas and innovations. Now, this may be a type that scrupulously follows ordinances and regulations. However, they may have that, they might have an ingenious side within them that maybe they wants to come out, but for whatever reason they might kind of restrain it and hold it back to some degree. Now, despite perhaps superficially appearing orthodox and conventional, people that have Uranus retrograde in their natal chart may feel like they don't conform or fit in, and in some isolated cases, this would be in probably very remote cases though, may feel ostracized to some degree. This person may have difficulties connected with reformation or unanticipated changes in their lives. The person may be a little bit maybe excitable, and this might be due to the fact that the energy of Uranus may be held back and repressed strongly, and then when it comes out, it can come out in maybe some kind of excitable emotion at times. Now, Uranus is retrograde for about 5 months in every year, and so really that's over 40% of people. So obviously, if as I've talked about before, generational planets, generally I don't see the impact or influence on a natal chart is as strong as opposed to the personal planets such as Mercury, Venus, Mars. Now, as far as this goes, the Uranus retrograde, maybe I can give you some examples as far as this goes. The first thing I want to say is that Uranus traverses a sign on average for approximately 7 years, so obviously the house placement is a lot stronger, and I believe, at least in my opinion, bears more significance in terms of its impact on the individual. Now, I'll give you some examples. Let's say that somebody has Uranus retrograde in Sagittarius in the 6th house. This person may have perhaps some original philosophies, and maybe have some very original, unique, ingenious ideas that are connected perhaps with philosophies, abstract thinking. And if it's in the 6th house, these ideas, these unusual philosophies may be held back to some degree, especially in the matters connected at work. They might have some unusual philosophies connected maybe with employment, with service, and connected with health, but there may be some reluctance in as far as expressing them. Now, if let's take somebody that has Uranus in Libra retrograde in the 7th house. Now, this could be a person that may have some very unique ideas that are pertaining to art and relationships, and being in the 7th house, of course, this would reinforce that uniqueness, or ideas that are, or what's unorthodox ideas they have that are associated with relationships. And This person may have them, but may not always, may not really express it as strongly as opposed if they had Uranus in direct motion in their natal chart. Now, the thing about this, as I've stated before, Uranus retrograde, it's not really, I don't see it really bearing a lot of significance on an individual's horoscope, because if you figure over 40% of people have Uranus retrograde, and not all of them are going to have really strong, tremendous difficulty in expressing that eclectic side or that unique side of them. It may impact the person a little bit, and if somebody was, or say, to have Uranus in Aquarius in the first house, conjunct the ascendant in Aquarius, say, and Uranus was retrograde, that would modify things a great deal, and especially if it had predominantly good aspects on top of it. So it's about taking that whole chart into consideration and factoring a lot of other things in addition to the Uranus retrograde. And as I've stated before, don't isolate really anything in your natal chart, because there's so many little nuances and little elements in there. It's like an intricate piece of machinery, and there's a lot of little pieces that make it work. So anyway, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Uranus retrograde in the natal chart. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about Neptune retrograde in a natal horoscope. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, a person is made up of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.